Hi, so I'm Angie. So why did Wakefield invest in 50 things? Like many local authorities, we are working to improve our good level of development, and we know one of the key drivers of that is the communication, language, and literacy pathway. So the earlier strategic board was established to carry out some key strategic initiatives, and they saw 50 things as being one of the key drivers of that pathway, and therefore they gave the go-ahead for us to invest in it. In addition, in Wakefield, we have some health concerns in terms of children's obesity levels and their health habits. We know if you have unhealthy habits when you're younger, that's likely to translate into adulthood. So the beauty of 50 Things is that it's so holistic. It touches upon arts, culture, education, health, life skills. So it can have an impact on all of these various statistics and support them to change and grow. So that was an indicator for us in Wakefield. Also, we looked at investing in a program, tool, or app in terms of supporting our under fives to be more healthy, active, and to develop. And we compared many of them, and 50 Things was always in the mix with that. So when COVID came along, it kind of got pushed to the front, because we saw what a great home resource it was, and that it was accessible, it was adaptable, it was flexible. And one of our key objectives is for parents to have the knowledge and ideas and the confidence to support their children and continue their development. So 50 Things became 50 Things got the go ahead in May 2020. So in May 2020, we developed a steering group through the Arts, Culture and Leisure Service. This gave us a different perspective. Many of the other local authorities, I believe, are from an early years background. So in some ways it was great because we had a different perspective from them, but also we needed the expertise and the support of some people from early years areas. So we during the time of development, I had many conversations with different partners in different services, and I developed a key partners list, which is the ones that you can see on the screen. Some of these have been involved from the start, some I've recently had conversations with. But these guys have been so useful in terms of their expertise, their suggestions, and then also using 50 Things within their services. So why am I talking about partners? Because partners for us in Wakefield have been a big driving force in the success we've had so far. We set a target of 1,200 downloads in the first year. In just under 4 months, we reached that target, and we believe it's because we have such good partners involved in this project, combined with some really good social media and social marketing. With the partners, we feel it's really useful because they're able to give you a different perspective, a different approach. So, for example, all these approaches that you can see down the side, they're delivered through different services. So it might be the early years champions, which you see above, is that is engaging in the early years providers and getting them to embed 50 Things into their delivery. Be More Wakefield is looking at the assets that are featured in the app, for example Pugneys Country Park, and putting branding up at that park so people know that that park is associated with 50 Things. And then if you look at this purple section of partners over here, That's very much around the more targeted families, the more vulnerable families, and they've been able to engage with them in different ways, as opposed to a different service. So I think that is the beauty of 50 Things. It's open to interpretation to some extent, and the parks may use 50 Things differently to the schools. They may use it differently to the libraries and the museums, which is great. It gives that unique perspective. Also, we believe that having partners involved means that people trust in the app and the process a lot more. It kind of cuts out the middleman to some extent, because you gain their trust a lot quicker than what you would if the information may come from us in arts, culture, leisure. The reason we've got so many early years providers signed up as champions is because it's come from those teams that already work with them. So I think building that trust and rapport is important, and being able to reach out to those different markets. Also, with your various partners, you're able to share the resources and different ideas to reach some of those targeted families. I've recently started having conversations with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and looking at how we can work together to reach families and give them information at the same time rather than dribs and drabs. And then also the beauties of networking. Once you've got some partners that understand 50 Things, they know about it, they go to meetings, they're part of other networks, and they can talk about it and let people know how great it is and how it can be embedded within their service. So for me, when I have come to have a conversation with a new service or a new partner, and I said, so have you heard of 50 Things? Most of the time they say, yeah, I have, so told me about it. So that's great. It just makes your job a whole lot easier. And then I think one of the key things in terms of partner is sustainability, and this is where it really drives the success of the app. We see now that 50 Things is becoming embedded in some of these services, whether that's in terms of appraisals, delivery plans, curriculums, and it shows that it's becoming useful and it's becoming an asset to Wakefield. So when it gets to the point that contract needs renewing, we have evidence there to say, actually, people are really using this and it's embedded within their delivery and within their service. So that's partners. They've been very important to us. They've done a lot of work, and they should take a lot of kudos for the success we've had so far. So I just want to touch upon data. If you see this snapshot here, this is the overview data that you receive with your postcodes, with all the activity numbers across the top all the way up to A50. And it tells you whether they've completed them, they've viewed it, or they've not done anything with it at the moment. Now, this has been really useful, this data, because you can also download the top 10 viewed activities, the top 10 completed activities, and then obviously the bottom ones as well. And same with the postcodes. For us, we've been able to use this data to target some of our social media as to what postcode areas we may do some paid socials, or which activities we're going to choose because they're the most popular or they're the least popular, so we want to generate more interest. We've also used the postcodes to correlate with the number of early years champions that we have signed up, so we can see if we've got 5 nurseries signed up in one postcode area, has that got a lot of downloads, and it just gives us an indication as to whether that campaign's working. And then for us, seeing the number of the number of activities completed, that for us is going to support our plans for our next phase, which is the momentum phase of getting people to actually use their app. And obviously that all gives a baseline, and it will give indicators as to how the campaigns and initiatives within that phase are working. So from the postcodes, my manager's been able to do this magic spreadsheet, which gives us an indication about the quintiles and the deciles that the downloads are falling into. And this is extremely useful, especially when we're going to the children's board, giving them reports, senior management and partners, because it tells us what families are downloading the app to some extent, and what deprivation levels. So we want to obviously be getting the app out to the most vulnerable, those that really need it, that need that support. So we've been able to use this data and have a look and see if we need to adapt as plans so we can get to the most targeted. So that's it from me. Just my top tips would be key partners. If you can get their buy-in, it will really make your job a whole lot easier. And you know, I'd say many key partners, or many partners, will see the use of 50 things, just because it is so holistic. There's something for everybody in there. I haven't had a chance to touch upon social marketing, social media, but this has been a massive driving force for us. And because we had somebody on board from day one, it's really helped with how we've been. Don't run before you can walk, and especially at the start. We try to allocate periods of campaigns so then we can go back and analyse what's worked and what hasn't. Obviously, as you build up, then that's a little bit more difficult to do because the information's everywhere. But at the start, I would definitely slow it down a little bit. And use the data to inform your plans, as I've just spoke about. Thank you very much.
And terrible jaws. I have terrible teeth. And terrible teeth.
Good, mix it in. Mix. Mama, bubble. Wow. Bubble. Mix.
Summertime with big ashes and big brown bear.
And what happened?
And a big brown bear.
Tell Molly.
Big brown mouse.
Wow, that was a big jump.
Ooh. Shall we do something? Oh, we could splash. Put our hand in.